Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And it will come as news to absolutely no one at all that the SNP are a bunch of hypocrites. They have, of late, been trying to destroy the Scottish tourist industry by this massive clampdown they're trying on the short-term lets. It's basically a protection racket. If you own something that you can let out on a short-term basis that brings people into the country, increases sort of tourism and makes life better for that, they want their little cut. And so they've introduced this licensing scheme where you have to pay them for permission to rent out your property. It is literally no more than that, a protection racket. But the hypocrisy comes from the fact that even though they're trying to clamp down on it and saying, oh, we don't like this AirBNB style stuff, all blah, 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 and all that rubbish that they're talking about, who's one of the biggest users of these short-term lets? Let's have a look. So, hypocritical SNP government splash out thousands on short-term let accommodation while launching a crackdown on the industry. Oh yes, we don't like it. We don't like you making money and not giving us any. But we're going to use you anyway. How can you not like something and pretend you don't like it and then use it? Because the claim is, it is obviously just for money, but they're claiming it's because this Airbnb style, stuff is very unpopular in local communities. They're using it. Anyway, the Scottish Government has been accused of hypocrisy after its vast spend on Airbnb style accommodation was revealed, as they work on licensing the industry, which was described as destroying tourism in Scotland. And it utterly is. I mean, to be fair, if we backtrack a little bit and say that they brought these rules in, but they're not being policed. Police Scotland says they can't do it. They used to have licensing officers that would go around and check these things, but they can't afford to do that anymore because of the cuts. And so the police are basically refusing to do the licensing checks, so they're not doing it. The local council say, well, you've brought this law in, but you haven't given us the funding to go and check it. So unless you pay us money to create these positions to send out people checking, we're not going to check and police it. So who is checking and policing it? Nobody. It's another failure by the SNP. Yes, we'll bring this in. We'll bring this. Oh, you got to do this. Nobody's doing it. Nobody's complying. They're just still renting their properties out. And in the interim, nothing is being done about it because nobody has the cash to do the actual checking. It's another waste of time, effort and money from this useless government who seem to think that they're filled with all this self-important blather that people find, acceptable. It's not. Why aren't they? Why are they concentrating on this and not sorting out other issues like the NHS and social care? It's because they can't fix their own problems, so they have to create new areas to make new problems. But ultimately, of course, this licensing is just them taking money off these people. It's as I say, it's a protection racket. Pay us and we won't send the police round. That kind of thing. Anyway, the Scottish Government have been accused of hypocrisy after it was revealed it had spent tens of thousands of pounds on short-term let accommodation since 2020, despite launching a crackdown on the sector. The SNP executive pushed forward with the unpopular and needless licensing policy, which went live in October despite complaints from the industry. It means that every provider needs to sign up to rent out rooms with the council, with costs varying depending on the region. No fixed price. And even if you pay up front and get all this done, there's no guarantee the council will give you permission. So you could spend thousands of pounds, get nothing for it, and you're thousands out of pocket and you have no way of recouping that money. Also, it means that if you do pay and you are successful in that, you've got to get that money back because it's not a charity, and so prices rise. Who benefits? Well, nobody, because the council may get a bit of extra money, but it's not going to help the local authority beyond that, because all the other businesses in the town are going to go down on tourism. Therefore, less money going into local economies, which means less of a take generally in the economy for tax across the board. It's absolutely devastating. But again, it's another example of economic illiteracy. And done purely, like I say, as a tax-raising issue, not because it's going to improve the standard of of how of the accommodations, because accommodation, you have ratings now, you have Trustpilot and things like that. If it's shit, you can look and you go, oh no, everything's got a rating now. Anyway, it was revealed that the government spent more than £58,000 of taxpayer cash on short-term lets over the last 3 years, with this being counted as AirBNB style accommodation. And the clampdown on this sector came due to complaints about the number of these premises in tourist cities like Edinburgh. But then you need it. If you got rid of all the tourist accommodation and short-term lets in Edinburgh, Edinburgh's finished as a tourist destination. Nobody will go there. You can't get accommodation. What are these shops and places and venues in Edinburgh going to do if all the tourists stay away? It's a complete lack of any kind of understanding, isn't it? Anyway, the Scottish Sun revealed that officials forked out £36,500 ahead of the change in the law, which was meant to make the industry regulated. The statistics also show that over £2.4 million was spent by the SNP administration on hotel stays in the same period, including a spend of more than £1.2 million in 2022 alone. Millions of pounds on these kind of accommodations. Why? What on earth are they doing that they need that sort of money for accommodation? Critics blasted these costs during a time when publicly SNP ministers were talking down to the industry and refusing to listen to concerns. Scottish tourism spokesman Murdo Fraser said forking out almost £60,000 of taxpayers' money shows the SNP are happy to rely on the short-term let sector when it suits them. This spending only highlights their utter hypocrisy. They clearly don't know how important the industry is, but have hammered small businesses with extra costs and regulations to the point that thousands of operators have already shut their doors. And it's going to make everything worse. Of course, once all the little ones go, there's such a shortage, the big ones can just ramp the price up. And that's money going in there. It's not going into the local economy. It's ridiculous, isn't it? If people go there and instead of paying £100 for their stay, have to pay £200, that's an extra £100 not going into that bar, that restaurant, that shop. Destroying their incomes. Why? Because Humza Yousaf is an economically illiterate tit. That's why. Anyway, the short-term let scheme proved to be contentious, with numerous protests held in months and weeks leading up to its implementation. Operators warned they would leave the sector and claimed it would damage tourism in the cities and the regions. Undoubtedly, it will. They claimed it would destroy livelihoods, but their concerns were ignored and the initiative went ahead. Owners were given until October the 1st to have at least applied for a licence or face fines of up to £2,500, which is often cheaper than the cost of the licence. And if they don't have one, they cannot accept any bookings or welcome paying guests. Well, according to the law, but you guarantee it's still going to happen because nobody completes it. There was slow progress made on businesses actually applying for it, with a survey published by the Association of Scotland's Self-Caterers revealing that the majority of them had yet to apply. The organisation had long campaigned for big changes to be made in the legislation, but were ignored. More than 1,270 firms, which is about 61% of those eligible, had not even begun their applications yet, with no figures released for how many actually got a licence by October the 1st. And they won't release that information without a fight, because they know it's another fail. It's another massive fail, and it's not one that they want to publicise, is it? Scottish Government spokesman said travel is an essential part of government business and allows ministers and officials to promote Scotland, build relationships and boost investment. The Scottish Government values the short-term let sector. Why are you destroying it then? Why are you utterly destroying it if you value it? More hypocrisy and lies from a government seeped in hypocrisy and lies. Can't believe a word they're saying, can you? And I'm going to round off there and I'm going to come up. They can't help lying, you know. It's in their DNA, isn't it? Oh, we value the sector while we're destroying it. But the very fact is, it's them looking to extract money from every single possible method. Do you own a gate? Well, you're going to have a gate tax, you know. Do you own a front door? Let's have a door tax. I'm surprised they're not bringing back window tax and beard tax the way it's going, because they've spent so much money on crap, they can't actually have any money left to spend on the things that they have to spend it on. education, health, it's just not there because, hey, let's spend it on some shit over here or some shit over there. Let's send it on that bit of crap up there. But not where you expect the money to be spent. Key public services, the important things, the big things. Health, social care, education, none of that. But I tell you what, plenty of glossy brochures. Hey, look how great it would be if we were independent. Oh, and let's have some foreign embassies. It's got to be illegal. Somebody's got to sue these people for misappropriation of money. Anyway, I shall round off there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has sort of shown the SNP yet again what hypocrites they are. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and do support local tourist, economies because they just absolutely need as much help as they can. So do keep using them, even if they're not registered. Don't ask for the registration fees or the registration documents. Don't ask for them. Just go there and assume they have them. Bye.